Science can uncover the mysteries of the universe, but sometimes, curiosity turns dark. Humans have been treated like guinea pigs, often without consent, often with deadly consequences. Today, we're exploring the human experiments that shock the world, experiments that reveal the terrifying side of science. Coming in at number 6, an experiment that lasted 40 years, and never should have lasted a single day. The Tuskegee Syphilis Study. In 1932, 600 black men in Alabama were recruited for a medical study. They were told they were being treated for bad blood. But the truth was far darker. Even after penicillin became a known cure, doctors withheld treatment on purpose. For 40 years, men went blind, suffered heart failure, and died, while their families were unknowingly exposed. This wasn't a failed experiment. It was a government-backed deception, carried out in the name of science. If Tuskegee showed how authority can destroy lives through neglect, number 5 shows what happens when power is handed out, and no one sets limits. At number 5, we have the Stanford Prison Experiment. In 1971, psychologist Philip Zimbardo turned Stanford University into a mock prison. College students were assigned as guards or prisoners. Within days, the guards became cruel, abusive, and sadistic. Prisoners broke down, some begging to leave. It was supposed to last 2 weeks. It ended after 6 days. This wasn't a horror story in a far-off land. It happened in a university classroom, proving how quickly ordinary people can embrace cruelty when given power. Though famous, critics point out that the guards were coached to act cruel, and some say the experiment exaggerated how quickly people turn abusive. It's dramatic, but the findings aren't as clear-cut as they seem. Next on the list, at number 4, the Milgram obedience experiments. In 1961, Stanley Milgram asked people to deliver electric shocks to strangers for giving wrong answers. The shocks weren't real, but the participants didn't know that. Here's the terrifying part: 65% went all the way up to what they thought were lethal doses. Ordinary people, just like you or me, were capable of harming someone to the brink of death, simply because they were told to obey authority. A terrifying glimpse into the dark side of human obedience. Next on the list, on number 3, we have the monster study. In 1939, 22 orphan children in Iowa became the subjects of a cruel speech experiment. Some children were told over and over that they were stutterers, even when they didn't stutter. The result: anxiety, shame, and long-term speech problems that haunted them for life. Innocent children were turned into lab rats, not for any medical breakthrough, but to satisfy scientific curiosity. A chilling reminder that ethics can be ignored when the vulnerable are involved. Coming up at number 2, a project so disturbing it was buried for decades. Project MK-Ultra. During the Cold War, the CIA tried to control minds. MK-Ultra involved secretly dosing unwitting subjects with LSD and other mind-altering drugs. Some suffered psychotic breaks. Others died. People were tested on without consent, sometimes at home, sometimes in hospitals, sometimes even in prisons. It wasn't just unethical, it was terrifying. The government was experimenting on its own citizens, and most of what they did is still classified. Finally, number 1 wasn't conducted in secret basements or laboratories. It was carried out on living human beings, at an industrial scale. Japanese units. Unit 731 in World War II Japan is perhaps the most horrifying. Prisoners were used for vivisection, yes, cut open while alive, to study disease progression. Others were exposed to plague, frostbite, or chemical weapons. Thousands of civilians and prisoners of war died. Entire families disappeared. This was not a mistake, not an accident. It was systematic, state-sponsored torture disguised as science. The horrors of Unit 731 remain one of history's darkest chapters. As dark as these studies were, they didn't end in failure. They forced the world to ask better questions, and ultimately, to build stronger ethical boundaries around science. So after all the shock, the fear, and the outrage, what did we actually learn? 1. Power is situational, not personal. The Stanford Prison and Milgram studies show that cruelty isn't always about bad people. Ordinary humans can commit atrocities if the environment and authority push them. Insight: human morality is fragile when social structures manipulate context. This isn't just history, it's a reminder to question workplace, institutional, or social dynamics today. 2. Systems can perpetuate evil even without malice. Tuskegee and Unit 731 weren't random acts of cruelty. They were systemic, carried out by institutions, not individuals acting alone. Insight: we often blame people, but history shows that rigid systems or unchecked authority can normalize cruelty, a lesson for governments, companies, and organizations. 3. Knowledge without empathy is dangerous. MKUltra and Monster studies show that intelligence and scientific skill don't guarantee ethical behavior. Clever minds can rationalize harm in the name of progress. Insight: ethical intelligence matters as much as technical intelligence. Progress is meaningless if it destroys humanity. 4. Human curiosity is double-edged. Curiosity drives discovery but also ignites risk when morality is ignored. Every experiment began with a what-if question, but some questions should never have been asked. Critical thinking isn't just about solving problems, it's also about knowing which problems shouldn't be pursued. 5. Ethics often evolve after catastrophe, not before. Most rules protecting human subjects, IRBs, consent laws, were implemented after abuses happened. Takeaway: society often reacts to horrors rather than preventing them. Awareness and foresight are vital to stop history from repeating itself. History shows us the darkest corners of human curiosity and the worst mistakes we can make when morality is ignored. But it also teaches us something far more powerful: we can do better. Every rule, every ethical guideline, every human rights law exists because people decided that cruelty is never acceptable, and that respect, consent, and empathy must guide us. Science, curiosity, and progress are not the enemies. The real power lies in pairing knowledge with compassion. When we learn from the past, when we question authority, and when we see the humanity in everyone, we can create a world where curiosity illuminates life instead of destroying it. So, let these stories shock you, teach you, and remind you, our greatest discoveries are not just in science, but in how we choose to treat each other. Thank you for watching. Comment below, which experiment shocked you the most?